What's up everyone, this is Mind, and as promised, this is my Jugger Tank PvP talent selection guide. Alright, so I reset all the talent tree so we can walk through each decision I make, and hopefully I can provide some justification for it, give you insight to why I make the selections I do. So if you agree or disagree, you at least have a founding for why I make the choices I do. As a tank, obviously we're going to heavily invest in the Immortal tree, so we're going to start out our build there. For our first tier, we have Battle Cry, Quake, and then Enraged Sunder. To be perfectly honest, Quake and Enraged Sunder, in my opinion, do little in PvP. However, we're going to have to invest in them in order to get to the next tier. Those aside, I really stand by Battle Cry. I think it's a great talent, and we're going to max it out. Alright, so now our Force Charge is going to make our Force Scream free. So now, once we charge someone, we're able to dot them or dot someone next to them. I think this is very viable. And honestly, when it comes to Smash, Force Charge, Force Push, and Force Scream, those are, in my opinion, the bread and butter of Juggernaut tanking, especially when it comes to running the ball or protecting a Noid and Alderaan, or protecting the Void, Star Doors. So I really like to invest heavily into those four talents. As I stated though, we can't gain access to the next tier without investing in something else in the first tier. Because I think neither provide that much of a benefit, I actually put 1 point each, because a 50% chance, it's not that great, but neither one of these are game changers. I have heard arguments that, well, Mind, since you always talk so heavily about Smash, wouldn't you put both into Quake? To be honest, accuracy in PvP is, in my opinion, not that big of a deal. So if you invest in both, yeah, you get a chance to lower accuracy on your smashes, and now if you're using Sundering Assault to build Rage, you're going to get an additional Rage from it on a 50% chance. To me, that's just really the best way to gain access to the next tier. Okay, on the next tier we have Guard Stance, which you're always going to be in this form. You should always have someone on guard. To me, this is something you just have to kind of invest in. Okay, now we've increased our defense by 6%. Our other choices for this tier are Lash Out, which makes retaliation, cost less rage. And then we have Intimidation, which reduces the cost of Chilling Scream and Backhand. I honestly don't have many rage problems in PvP because of some other talent choices we're going to make in the Vengeance tree. However, if this had a cooldown on Chilling Scream, I would completely be about it. So once again, I'm really just trying to put talents here in order to gain access to the next tier. That's my personal opinion. Alright, so if we put one in each, we're going to benefit from a couple different things. Now, retaliation costs less, and Chilling Scream and Backhand is going to cost less. Backhand is a pretty good CC'er, but once again, really dependent on your playstyle, how people engage you. I do not think as a Jugger tank you should run into rage problems in PvP. However, now we've gained access to the next tier, and this tier is really good for us. Invincible is a must-have. I think it's undisputable that if you're going to be a Juggernaut, even as DPS Juggernaut, you have to invest in Invincible. This talent right here, Retaliation, increases your melee and range defense by 2%. This is actually a really nice one to have. Fortunately, we just don't have the points available to invest in it. There's other places where we can become more viable and provide more utility. So we're going to have to skip on this as far as PvP. PvE, it's honestly mandatory that you invest here. For PvP, Unleashed, reducing the cooldown for that, which is our CC breaker. This is what we're going to invest in vice the PvE side of Blade Barricade. Okay, now heavy-handed has, I've said Smash, Sweeping Slash. These are really big DPS abilities for Jugger tanks. So anytime we can invest into those, since they're going to be our main staple of any kind of AoE damage, we need to do so. So we're going to put all 3 of our points right here. And now backhands increase, but we really use that for CC, but our smash and sweeping slash now do an increased 15% damage. Now the next tier, the shield specialization, is something I've gone back and forth with, and I've had some pretty good chats with people, and I'm going to admit that shield specialization in PvP is really not a game changer. However, when you look at your alternate choice here, you get revenge, and we're going to make smash free. Okay, so there's no reason to go anything in revenge because smash is going to be free once we go into our vengeance tree. And if we use force scream correctly, it's going to be free 50% of the time, and its rage costs are not that high, so there's no reason to go on revenge. Now throw gauntlet. This threatening scream is our AoE taunt. It's very powerful in PvP right now with its damage reduction of 30%. Force push is one of the prime abilities that Juggernaut should be using, so we're definitely going to invest here. And once again, now we have to make a decision in order to gain access to the next tier. Because of my justification for seeing no benefit to revenge, this is how I justify going into shield specialization. Okay, on our final tier that we're going to be investing in Immortal Force Grip, making Force Choke non-channel to me is very important to my playstyle. I normally will jump at someone, I'll Force Choke them, and I'll push a different person. So having the Force Choke become part of my CC and part of my setup, you know, where I can choke people and then push them where I want them, to me this is a big part of my playstyle. Some people, you know, would invest elsewhere. I have no problem with that. That's my justification for it. Backhand, to me, is something else you kind of just have to invest in if you're going to be viable in PvP. It's a good CC. Generally, people I've noticed will actually break out of backhand just because it's a force second, which now opens the door for the rest of your team to start a CC rotation on someone. So it's really good to backhand when you can. The damage is not the staple of this, it's actually the 4-second stun. A lot of people who I've talked to about these talents have really been surprised that I didn't invest in Crash. So I'm going to explain why I don't invest in Crash. Primarily because I don't have enough points available with my build. Okay, there's just certain things you have to give up to get other things. Secondly, the way I use Force Charge, that 2-second stun is kind of not required. Okay, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I use Force Charge and Hutt Ball to gain distances and to open up routes. Then I will, once I charge someone, I will either push them, I'll dot them with Force Scream, or I'll choke them. Stunning them when you use talents such as Unstoppable is really kind of redundant in my opinion. So if I had the points available, I would obviously do it, but I don't. Which brings me to my next one, Sonic Barrier. You know, this is where I catch some flack. Well, you know, mind you, are always talking about how important Force Scream is. I do love it. I think that when you know, get into the Vengeance tree and you reduce the cooldown, make it apply bleed, it's great. It having a chance to shield you as well is great. But I can only afford to put 1 point in that right now. And you know, I've read some interesting arguments. Well, a 50% chance is, you know, not that good. Why not go for the 100? I want to be honest. One, if you're using Force Scream correctly, you should be using it every 10 seconds. So that 50% chance multiplier, you really have to consider how it's going to work for you. It lasts 10 seconds. Every 10 seconds with the build I'm going with, you can apply it. So that 50% chance, it approaches pretty often. Once again, if we had the talents, I'd do it. But for right now, this is about creating opportunities for things to proc, not always guaranteeing them. Alright, so that finishes out our Immortal tree for how I build it. Now we have 18 points left over, and we're going to try to get to certain key talents in the Vengeance tree. Okay, single Saber Mastery for a PvP tank. This is completely useless. You will never be in these forms. No reason to put anything here. Decimate, once again, smash. is just a big part of our rotation, so we're going to heavily invest in this. It's not only going to increase the damage for it, but it's going to reduce the cooldown. We're going to put a point here because it's the only thing viable. This is once again creating an opportunity for something to proc that we may not really see any benefit from, but in order to gain access to the next tier, we have to invest somewhere. Okay, our next tier, Unyielding. I really haven't seen any arguments against it. It's a great talent to have, especially as a ball runner in Hutt ball. If you're solo guarding a door, or you're solo guarding one of the turrets and Outeron, this one really helps you out. Strength being our primary stat, this is a no-brainer in my opinion as well. And unfortunately, we're going to have to put a point into accuracy just to gain access to the next tier. Okay, this is probably the best tier when it comes to PvP tanking. Okay, first off, we're going to start with Draining Scream. We're going to max that one out so that our Force Screams always dot the person. Okay, what that does for us is in 2 of the 3 war zones we know of right now, Outeron, you can now guard a turret on your own. It's a 6-second bleed. Remember, the way we're talenting, Force Screams available every 10 seconds. That means there's only a 4-second window, an opportunity for them to grab a turret or grab the door in Void Star while you're alive. Understand that that 4-second window is not enough to cap something. So essentially, as long as you are alive and you are not being a baddie, you can solo guard both of those objectives. Unstoppable. This right here is a little OP. I'm not gonna lie. Definitely want to invest heavily in this, and this is really nice for running the ball in Hutt ball. The damage reduction is great when you're kind of bypassing targets. If you're in range to score 20%, it really does add up. And of course, the fact that they can't CC you for 4 seconds really helps out. You can use this in conjunction with some of the things I do, like force push, force choke, and now you're really able to cover a great distance without the opposition being able to stop you. Pooled Hatred is it's not a bad to have. It's not really a necessity. It is nice understanding that Juggernauts are generally slowed, or they try to CC you. Once again, we're going to speak specifically on Hutt ball, where the optimal route is to CC the ball runner. Well, knowing that that's what people go for, this really helps you out, because now those people who are at 25% health, kind of being the annoying cockroaches on you, once these CCs start happening, you're able to actually do more burst damage than they can really expect from a tank. We're only going to put 1 point there because, as you see, we've only got 3 points left, and we definitely have to invest in Ruin. Smash no longer costing Rage means we can use it every time it's off CD, and it's really important that you do so. Single target, AoEs on groups, when it's off CD, you need to be smashing people. Remember, the way we talent it, you're going to get a 30% increase in smash from Decimate with an additional 15%. That means 45% damage increase from smash. This should be your primary DPS ability in PvP. And our last 2 talents, the reason we didn't have the room to go 2 of 2 in Sonic Barrier or to invest in Crash is because we need to reduce the cooldown of Force Scream. In order to get it to that 10 seconds, we had to give up both of those talents so that we could have our Force Scream be on a 10-second rotation. Okay, so that's the primary reason why I do not invest into the 100% chance for Sonic Barrier, nor do I invest in Crash, is primarily just to ensure that I can get the cooldown where I need in order to make sure that I can solo guard objectives in Outeron and Void Star, and my rotation now affords me an opportunity to generally proc a shield commonly. Alright, so this is the build I go with, and I like it. It obviously is really reliant upon having someone on guard, especially if you're running the bonus for the 5% damage. AoE taunting is crucial, survivability is crucial. This build helps with both of those, and it also gives you a decent DPS increase so that you probably can't solo too many people, but you can definitely aggravate them and draw attention from your healers or more objective DPSers. Alright, so we're going to end this video with a comparison between my build and two other builds I saw on the forums, that being of Rhaith and Unknown. The major difference between my build and Rhaith's build is he went 100% into Sonic Barrier, which guarantees anytime he does a Force Scream, he's going to get that shield up. Secondly, he went with Crash, and that's going to make sure anytime he does a Force Charge, he's going to stun that target for 2 seconds. What he's given up in turn for that in comparison to my build is Ruin, which now Smash will cost him Rage, and Vengeance, which is what I use to decrease the timer on Force Scream down to 10 seconds, but his current build Force Scream will be on a 12-second CD. In Rhaith's build he has 2 points left over. Assuming that he goes into Draining Scream, he'll still be able to apply a Bleed or a Dot with Force Scream. So the difference between these builds is really cosmetic, and I think it really comes down to play style. You know, how you're moving from target to target, has a Jugger tank, and what kind of survivability you're looking for, I guess, if you're really relying upon Force Scream to give you a shield. Alright, the second build that's up right now is Unknown's build. As well as Rhaith, he went with Sonic Barrier to guarantee that anytime he does a Force Scream, he's going to get that shield active. He went into Dark Blood, which is an Endure Pain increase. Increases the duration of Endure Pain by 5 seconds and also provides a damage decrease. I completely understand that choice, and if I had more points available, I would invest into it. My justification for going outside of Endure Pain, beyond just not having enough points to accomplish everything I wanted, was that as a Juggernaut, you end up with 7 defensive cooldowns, 9 CDs available in PvP. And Endure Pain, while it's definitely viable, and I understand wanting to increase it by 5 seconds, as a biochem, I'm able to stack Endure Pain with my med pack, gives me about 28,000 life. You also have your trinkets, which increase your defense. There's a lot of ways to survive as a Juggernaut, and going up one more tier, just really wasn't that viable. Putting points in the Sweeping Slash, I really don't agree with that either, to be honest, but it works. The only thing that I really would have to say I disagree with this build on is in Vengeance, where he went 2 of 3 in accuracy and only 1 of 2 in unyielding. I think that's probably just an oversight, unless he knows something I don't know about accuracy. Unyielding is a great PvP talent overall, and especially useful for Juggernaut tanks. So these are 3 competing builds right now. Honestly, I think that they're all viable, and I think that for any new Juggernaut who's trying to start PvP tanking, it's really a choice of playstyle, and I think all 3 of these builds will work. I appreciate Rhaith and Unknown taking the time to build one up. I've had some pretty good debates about it, so now it's really up to those who are starting out Juggernaut tanking, or just kind of looking for vindication and justification for their choices, to kind of compare these models and maybe come up with one that's better, or at least understand where we're all coming from. Hope this guide helps you. Hope you enjoyed it. We look forward to seeing some more debates about it, and hopefully some other classes get involved as well. I firmly believe that PvP should be a shared knowledge base. I think it makes all the players better, therefore making PvP better overall. So thanks for watching. As always, keep your head up, do the right thing. Alright, so while I was editing this video, a couple other people asked me maybe if I could show some gameplay footage to kind of explain my talent choices and stuff. So I said, why not? And I thought it'd be easier to add it to this, since it really goes hand in hand. My play style kind of vindicates why I do certain talent choices. Hutt Ball seems to kind of be where Juggernauts are making their money right now, as far as PvP, especially looking at trying to get on a rated team. So this is going to be all Hutt Ball gameplay. So hope you enjoy, and Zoid, it was great playing with you this morning. I look forward to many more matches.